Well, in addition to striking Iran, the Israeli military has launched a fresh wave of attacks on targets they say are linked to the Iranian-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon. Well, let's bring in our Middle East correspondent, John Donnison. John, we've been seeing the images of those vast plumes of smoke over central Beirut. Just tell us more about what we are hearing.
Yeah, just in the last hour, the Israeli military announced a fresh wave of strikes, and they seem to be pushing further into Beirut. I know our team there, they say one of the strikes was just about a kilometre from where they're staying, right in the centre of town. So no longer just those southern suburbs of Beirut where Hezbollah has its stronghold. We had the strike this morning right on the Corniche, which is the promenade, the road that runs along the seafront in Beirut. 8 people killed there in a strike by the IDF. So definitely they're continuing with their air campaign, and at the same time they're expanding their operation in the south and ordering more people to evacuate in areas where previously they've never issued evacuation orders so far north. So you now have hundreds of thousands of people displaced, many of them heading north towards the capital. Where they're going to go, we don't know. And then in Beirut, in the south of Beirut, in the suburbs there, people being told to evacuate as well.
Yeah, and we just had an updated death toll as well from the Lebanese health minister, pushing that death toll since the 2nd of March now to nearly 700 killed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge toll, and there's no sign really at the moment that Israel is prepared to stop. I think even if the war ends in Iran, which Donald Trump seems to be signalling is something that he might be prepared to do soon, I think there's every chance that Israel will continue in Lebanon. We have had calls from Israeli politicians today to occupy southern Lebanon, something which would require a lot of troops. It would require much more force to go in, and something that I'm not sure would be terribly sustainable. We were up there, just a few days ago, right up on that border, and we did see troops massing, and we heard what were very heavy exchanges of fire just the other side of the border. But Israel Katz, Israel's defense minister today saying that if the Lebanese government can't disarm Hezbollah, then Israel would be prepared to go in and do it for them.
OK, John Donnison, for the moment, thank you very much for bringing us up to date on what we are seeing in Beirut. You can see the images next to me on the screen, and you can scan the QR code in if you want to get more on the live page. But now let's get an overview of the situation across the region. Let's speak to our correspondent, Barbara Pletasher, who is in Doha for us. So, Barbara, just tell us what's been happening where you are and across the Persian Gulf.
Virginia, the main things that happened across the Persian Gulf today were these attacks on the ships. Three more ships were attacked, 2 of them off the southern coast of Iraq near Basra port, and 1 of them off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. 2 of them bursting into flames and having to have crew evacuated, and one crew member dying. And then on top of that, you had the Iraqis and Oman closing down oil terminals. So again, another avenue for exporting oil closed down, not just the blockage of the Strait of Hormuz. So those have been the focus really here in the region because of the oil prices, because of the concern about how this is affecting the global economy, and there will have been a lot of attention paid to the leader of to the words of Mujtaba Khamenei that he was going to continue with this policy of keeping the Hormuz Strait closed, because that is a way to cripple or to affect the world economy, given the oil and gas, the blockage of the oil and gas exports.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you about that. And is there any diplomacy going on behind the scenes to try and end the conflict? Because, of course, countries like where you are have been key brokers when it comes to trying to get talks on a peace situation.
Yeah, the Qataris had been very involved in that, and when we ask them about it now, they say we are still, we want de-escalation. We still are committed to mediation, but the spokesperson for the foreign ministry said the other day we don't really essentially have time to do that because we're so busy defending ourselves. You know, there was an attempt at de-escalation at the weekend when the Iranian president came out and apologized to the regional states and What happened after that is that the members of the Gulf Cooperation Council were meeting to draft a statement in reply as part of a plan to try to ease tensions and bring calm. And yet the attacks continued. In fact, we were told even as they were writing it, there were attacks continuing. So that ended with nothing, and I think that has jaded them quite a lot. There is quite a lot of feeling amongst the Gulf states that Iran is isolating itself. You know, before the war, there were differences of opinion about how to approach Iran, different types of relationships. They have really united right now in criticizing Iran and warned it that it is miscalculating and isolating itself. We'll see what sort of diplomatic initiatives emerge. Again, the Qataris say that at the end of the day, these things will be resolved by dialogue, but we haven't seen any signs of that happening right now, and certainly the message from Mujtaba Khamenei, they will have listened to carefully. He said that the attacks on the U.S. bases in their countries would continue. He did say this is not against our neighbors. We want to have we want friendship between ourselves and our neighbors, and we're only targeting the U.S. bases. But he said, but we will continue doing that. And of course, they haven't just done that. The Gulf states have made very clear they have also hit civilian and energy infrastructure. So he had a sort of slight tone of trying to signal that he didn't want to alienate the neighboring states, but that the policies would continue, and that is what the Gulf states will be paying attention to.
Okay, Barbara Pletasher in Doha. For the moment, thank you very much for that update.